You are listening to Cha 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 in Blue on CKUT FM 90.3 and CKUT.ca. Next on deck, here's some new music from my Goudreau and the Boppin Blues Band.
Le blues a toujours été une musique vivante qui se vivait premièrement sur scène. Il faut payer nos douze, comme on dit. Il faut aller, faut travailler, il faut gagner de l'expérience. C'est pas une musique que tu découvres et que tu possèdes.
Qui est plus simple que le jazz au niveau des accords, au niveau des mélodies, mais c'est un véhicule par lequel on doit passer plus d'émotions, plus de douleur. Là. Dans le blues, là, c'est comme j'ai mal, c'est pas le fun, je suis en peine d'amour, je suis blessé. C'est clair.
It doesn't get the airplay, but yeah, it's still a part of all music that's played almost is taken something out of blues.
Le blues, pour moi, c'est un peu comme le théâtre, en fait. La relation est que, à toutes les fois que j'écoute du blues ou que je vais au théâtre, je me dis toujours, je devrais en écouter plus du blues ou je devrais aller plus souvent au théâtre parce que c'est quelque chose qui m'intéresse puis que j'en ressors toujours grandi.
Le blues a toujours sa place à différents endroits, à différents moments, mais il sera toujours très, très présent puisque c'est une base profonde en musique. C'est celle-là même qui influence toutes les autres, peut-être.
I just love to play guitar.
John Lee Hooker says, the blues heals, and it really does, And for me, it was a revelation. It was a music that just carried me away, and and anytime you have rough moments in life, and like everyone has, to me it was just kind of soothing, and it made me feel better. It made me escape. It made me forget about the crap that I was living at that moment. It still does that today, So. The blues basically it's really improvising, and it's finding ways to make just the 3-chord structure interesting all the time, it's quite a challenge.
Tell me everything's gonna be all right. Give me some sweet blues. Oh, you know how to hold me tight. Give me some sweet blues. Well, it's absolutely free. I nobody, baby, love me like you love me. Give me some sweet blues. Do that thing you do. Give me some sweet blues. You make me feel brand new.
I'd say Jump Blues. That's where we really started. That was our first goal. We wanted to play Jump Blues. As the band evolved, we got a little bit more involved with jazz, so everything got a little more elaborate harmonically. A lot of it is the licks, but a lot of it is the kind of the rhythm and the chord progressions. If I was to play just a regular blues, say in G, how we play, which is, the kind of what we hear a lot in the blues. So that's kind of like the old style blues, more of a rural sound, Delta blues sound. And Boppin, if we were kind of play the same kind of progression, we would play it more like. And then we'd maybe add some chords. Which is still the same as just kind of a way to add some colors and some different styles, mixing in the bop with the blues, where the name comes from, Boppin Blues Band. Je peux le comparer avec ce qui se fait aux États-Unis ou ailleurs. Quand j'entends le boppin jouer, les arrangements de cuivre, etc., on peut voir toute la finesse, tous les standards qui sont là. C'est classique aussi. Là. On parle de très, très beau travail. Là. Il peut comparer n'importe quel autre artiste, groupe de n'importe où dans le monde. Là. C'est world class. Là. C'est très solide. Les shuffles, c'est très bien joué. Ils se promènent dans les styles aussi. Ils vont aller chercher des trucs un peu latins à l'occasion. Vont faire ça. Puis tout est toujours très bien assumé, très bien performé.
Il nous fait des versions français, anglaises. Puis souvent, il va prendre une chanson, il va des fois modifier le titre pour l'amener 10 ans plus tard sous une autre version. On va reconnaître la mélodie, mais il va l'amener différemment. Puis il a fait ça avec quelques pièces d'ailleurs. Ou il va prendre une même chanson, puis il va la faire en slow blues, puis il va la faire la même chanson en plus rythmé.
Mike, lui d'abord, comme individu et comme musicien, il possède un très très large répertoire. Bon, il y a le blues, il y a le jazz, il y a le gospel.
Some swings, some jump styles.
Il y a l'R&B, il y a le country, il y a le pop, il y a le rock.
It's a little bit of everything that I listen to.
Je dirais qu'aujourd'hui, c'est quelqu'un qui a mis tout ça dans sa musique et ça se reflète. Donc, 30 ans plus tard, ce qu'on réalise, c'est qu'il a assimilé tous ces sons-là, puis il a pu les intégrer dans sa musique d'une façon qui coule et qui est tout à fait intéressante.
C'est un des rares au Québec qui amène le brass. Puis ça fait différent de voir un trio guitare, bass, drum. Alors tout de suite, la sonorité du Boppin Blues Band m'a intéressé à cause des brass sections, puis à cause de la diversité musicale de Mike Goudreau, le fait qu'il composait ses chansons, paroles, musique, ça me parlait beaucoup. Puis surtout un autre point important, la qualité de sa musique, qualité sonore, l'instrument, réalisation, c'est top notch, ce qui n'est pas tout le temps le cas des indépendants.
I had a best friend growing up, a guy from town here, his name is Paul Tiberge, and we were schoolmates and we were also played hockey together. He had started playing guitar probably maybe 1 or 2 years before, and he picked it up really fast. And I just thought it was so cool that he knew how to play guitar, and I decided, well, maybe I'll buy a guitar and try to learn. I knew that I could sing on pitch, but I didn't know if I could play an instrument. So I bought a Norman B20 at Pinchot Music in Sherbrooke, and we started playing guitar every day after school. We bought the Beatles Complete, big thick book, and we went halves on it because it was $30. It was quite a bit of money at the time. And we bought that Beatles book, and we learned every freaking Beatle tune that we could possibly learn. So we'd learn the chords, and we'd learn the harmonies, and we learned how to harmonize with each other. And that was the start. We played just the two of us together. We started playing at school. Then we decided, let's start a band. Let's get a drummer and a bass player. We didn't know anybody that played drums, and we didn't know anybody that played bass, but we did have another friend at school, and he bought a bass, and his cousin was a drummer. He lived in Magog. And so we did our first gig at the Stansted Border Community Center, and we made $50 a piece. And I was like, wow, I just discovered gold. I can make $50 for playing music. That's just out of this world. I remember my dad and my mom, they were supportive, but for sure, for my dad especially, music for him was a weekend thing, a part-time thing, something you did to have a reason to go out, pick up girls, party with your buddies, you know, that type of thing, which it was at the beginning. About 15 years later, I started playing at Café du Palais in Sherbrooke. We had a Monday night gig. At that time, I didn't really know a lot of blues. I knew a lot of country tunes. I knew a lot of old rock and roll tunes, but hadn't really dabbled with the blues all that much. And just got the blues bug doing that Monday night gig. And I was totally hooked. And I was like, I gotta get a band of my own, and I want horns. I want at least 1 or 2 horns. Not long after that winter, I got together with the founder, Richard Bergeron, the drummer. He played with me for 17 years. He was also a seasoned musician, played lots of tours, lots of people. Started a band, made a demo in my dad's basement, recorded live on a cassette tape, and sent it to a guy named Gilles Rouleau, who was booking the Labatt's blues festivals at that time. He loved our demo, and that's where it all started. And that was the beginning of the Boppin Blues Band that first summer of 1992. Haven't looked back since. Richard Bergeron at the time said, "Ah, pourquoi tu composes pas quelques chansons?" And I was like, j'ai jamais composé, je sais pas, j'ai peur que ça soit pas assez bon. Anyway, so I was kind of like insecure about it, but I said, screw it, I'll try to write something.
I had me a woman, I love her so. She hurt me so much, I had to let her go, but I'm still crying. And I can't seem to shake these blues.
So I wrote a Stevie Ray Vaughan inspired blues called I Had Me a Woman. And I had this other tune that I had kind of co-written with a friend of mine from Quaticook named Tim Kelly called Dear John Song, which was kind of a minor blues, kind of in the style of Summertime a little bit. So we put those two on the CD thinking those are the 2 duds of the album. But the 2 originals ended up being the songs that garnered attention from reviewers and critiques. When I realized that I could actually write a song that people didn't think was total crap, I was like, well, maybe I should put more effort into writing music and writing songs and starting to write songs. Then that led to the second album, which had 12 or 13 songs, and 8 of them were originals. And that kind of became our thing. The more we advanced, the more we progressed. We just decided after a while, let's just put 1 or 2 covers on and let's just write all the rest.
Before I die, I'll tell you something. I sure have tried. My baby told me I had to move outside.
The original lineup for the Boppin Blues Band was myself, Richard Bergeron on drums, Guy Breton on bass, Christian Gagné, and Mario Côté, who also played sax and keyboard. So that was the band for the first year or so. And then, of course, the band evolved and got a little bit bigger. We added a 3rd horn, and that got us to where we are now. Consider myself super lucky to have Danny, Serge, and Max that have been there for a really, really long time. Usually when we do gigs, they make themselves available. Even if they have another gig, a lot of times they'll get subbed to come and play with us when they can. Sometimes they can't. And in those events, we do have a stellar lineup of subs. On trumpet, we've had Roger Walls, who's another legend in Montreal. He played with the Duke Ellington Band, and he played on a few of our recordings. We wrote this song called Why'd I Drink So Much, and he plays the lead trumpet on it. And that song's been licensed a couple times for TV shows, and I think it's due to the fact of his trumpet playing when the song comes in. The song comes in with his screaming trumpet, and it's just amazing. Nino Fabi, who's been there off and on for the last 30 years, maybe even a little bit more than 30, because he played with us in some rock and roll bands at this bar in Sherbrooke called the Dufferin. Jonathan Goudreau played bass for the band for about 12 years on quite a bit of our recordings, and Joe's just a fabulous, fabulous bass player. When he started, he didn't have that much experience in the blues, but by the time in the last few years, he knew everything about the blues and jazz inside and out, and I miss him. We have a lot of guys that sub in from time to time to guys that are like really busy playing with a lot of famous people. Carl Sopranat is a really good example of that. He backs up Luce Dufault. He's played with Robert Charlebois, quite a few famous people. The main guy right now is Norman Lachapelle, who's kind of a legend in Quebec for jazz. And Norman is just a tremendous bass player, but a tremendous musician too. He's been playing with us pretty steadily now for the last 2 or 3 years. Dave's been in the band since 2000, off and on, and we still collaborate on lots of projects. Max has been there 28 years, maybe a couple years less than Danny. Serge, 26 or 27 years. So, those guys have been there for the really long haul and very, very present all the time. I've had 2 drummers in 30 years. So I had Richard Bergeron for about 17 years. Jean-François on the drums has been there for about 12, 13 years now. I've been pretty lucky. We haven't had too many changes. With Danny and Max, we actually hang out together, So, when I go to Montreal, or we'll get together for dinner, we'll get together for social occasions. When we were on tour in Ukraine and Russia, we were always the 3 of us together. It was nice because we're far away from home. We're all missing our families, but the fact that we had each other and to spend time with made the trip a lot easier and a lot more fun too. While we were on tour in Ukraine, he fell in love with a Ukrainian girl. They stayed in contact for a couple of years, and she ended up moving here, and they just totally in love. And I was best man at his wedding, so we're that close. We're like brothers. I spent a lot of time with Dave too, not just recording, but we spent a lot of time socially too. Same with Jean-François, very, very close to Jean-François. We had a lot in common with our families. We both come from families that are slightly dysfunctional, so we kind of have a lot of things in common in that way. And Jean-François is just the most down-to-earth, humble, beautiful person. You see it when he's playing drums. He's just smiling all the time. And it's not fake. That's the guy. That's who he is. I think even when the band folds and we stop playing, I think most of us are probably still going to remain close. When you really have an affinity for music with that close with those people and you spent so much time together, it's really like family. The guys that we have in the band are so good, Danny Roy, he's not just because he's my best friend, but he's definitely one of the best sax players I've ever heard anywhere. And same thing with Max on the trumpet. Max is also a master arranger, and he's arranged for Céline Dion, people like that. So he really knows his craft, and to have these guys in the band with me, I just knew I had to take advantage of having them to put the horns on my songs and really make my songs something that I could never make them on my own.
Try to make it sweet when you get knocked down by
Les brasses amènent quelque chose d'organique. Tu sais, je faisais déjà un peu de blues avant d'embarquer avec Mike, avec le Boppin. Sauf que là, ça m'a appris à jouer avec des cuivres, avec Maxime Saint-Pierre puis Serge Arsenault. Live, il me chante une ligne dans le coin de l'oreille, là, dans le creux de l'oreille. C'est comme, OK, là, on va faire là, au prochain... Tu sais, disons qu'il y a un solo de guitare de Mike. Il dit, OK, là, on va faire... Puis il dit, OK, là, 1, 2, 3, 4... Fait que là, on se trouve une harmonie sur le stage, live, on the spot. Puis ça, c'était écœurant, tu sais.
Pour moi, Mike, bon, il y a la qualité de la voix, d'abord et avant tout, mais il y a une chose qui est bien intéressante, puis ça, je trouve que le Boppin et Mike aussi, bien évidemment, à travers ses autres projets, ben c'est quelqu'un qui a un instinct de musicien qui fait qu'il a le don de faire lever une salle, c'est-à-dire de prendre le pouls de la salle, de la saisir rapidement et de pouvoir faire lever la salle très rapidement, et ça, c'est pas donné à tout le monde.
Il y a eu des moments où on disait être un artiste régional, ça faisait quétaine, ça faisait péjoratif. Mais je pense qu'aujourd'hui, ça rayonne, puis avec les médias sociaux, puis avec le numérique aussi, pas besoin de rester à Montréal pour faire carrière internationale. Donc, c'est la liberté, puis c'est le confort de sa communauté qui importe, qui fait toute la différence, la liberté de son art aussi.
Trial and error, dumbass luck, it takes all those things together to make it work. It's not just talent, it's being the right place, the right time, having the right tune. It's a very, very long game, and you really gotta keep putting out material, and you just gotta never give up.
They have both a harder time and a more flexible time than people who are tied to a label. You know, they have a harder time in that they don't have that kind of backing. They're not going to as easily get onto a Spotify playlist that's curated by Spotify or something like that, because it's harder for them to even just get noticed. So there is that. They don't have that PR arm working for them, so they have to do pretty much everything themselves. And you have to respect that, because that's an awful lot of work that goes into it. And the ones who are smart enough to be able to pull it off are exceptional.
The other thing that kind of made us really tilt towards writing more and really putting more emphasis on that is around 2007 when I started doing the licensing thing, when I joined Taxi A&R in California. When I first joined, my idea was I was going to try to get a label to sign us, because we've been unable to, up to that point, we weren't able to find a label to distribute and promote our music. In hindsight, which turned out to be a blessing, because I wouldn't be able to do all the licensing deals I do with television and film if I didn't own all the publishing on my songs. The fact that I own all the publishing, I own my master recordings, puts me in a great place to be able to make deals with libraries and music supervisors from all over the world, not just California, but New York and Europe and now even in the Orient. So then I started not only recording albums for booking gigs and my career as a blues and jazz artist, but we started recording all different kinds of music, like French cabaret, Christmas songs. We started doing Christmas songs and realized, wow, I can license Christmas music, and I love Christmas music. So.
Mais tu reparles juste le dernier. Radieux, radieux. Ouais. Des cieux, des cieux, des cieux. Des cieux. Ouais, okay. C'est ça.
OK. Confiant dans la voix des cieux. Ah! Je le fais encore. Ouais. C'est une affaire d'anglais, ça.
Ouais.
La 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 la.
Strike the harp and join the chorus. Fa la 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 la. So, you know, it's been 2007, we're in 2022 now, so I've been at this for a while.
Une chance qu'ils sont là, les artistes indépendants, parce qu'évidemment, le blues au Québec, au Canada ou même ailleurs, tu sais, c'est un peu underground. Puis les artistes indépendants qui continuent année après année à réaliser, que ce soit des albums par eux, ben, ils ont besoin des radios communautaires, surtout, qui diffusent leur musique. L'exposure n'est pas toujours là dans les grands médias. 2 extraits, donc, de Isolation Blues. Il est avec moi en studio. On va le saluer tout de suite. Mike Goudreau, salut.
Salut Martin.
Comment ça va?
Ça va bien, toi?
Ben super bien. Bienvenue à Sous un ciel blues. Bien.
Merci.
Bien content de te recevoir.
Ça fait longtemps qu'on
Ben
s'est pas
oui,
vu.
absolument.
En fait, la musique indépendante, elle est de plus en plus grandissante à cause de ce qui se passe, évidemment. C'est-à-dire que les gens font des autoproductions, des choses comme celle-là. Alors, dans tous les styles, maintenant, on voit des autoproductions. C'est intéressant. Je pense que ça élargit, évidemment, le spectre de la musique. Puis, mais ça reste que, je pense au blues notamment, ça reste difficile quand même de percer un marché qui est très, très vaste parce que maintenant, tout est mélangé dans les styles.
Ce qui lui importe, c'est d'être près des gens. Sa musique est près des gens aussi. Puis sa musique est restée vraie aussi, indépendante dans ce sens-là. Et puis tant mieux pour nous parce que il reste accessible. Et je pense que c'est ce qui fait un vrai musicien, c'est quand on peut lui parler, discuter avec lui, le rencontrer, être à son niveau aussi. Puis il est toujours disponible au bout de la ligne, au bout du téléphone.
A lot of guys now they make their music at home. You know, they're like a one-man wrecking crew, and they're putting out great music as good as mine or better out of their basement. I still want to do it with real horns, real drums, upright bass player, you know, so.
Change my mind, I'll be on my way. Change my mind, yeah, I'll be on my way. Change my mind, I'll be on my way.
There's nothing more satisfying than when I write a tune and I'll record the bass, the guitar, and a voice, and maybe a little solo or something, and then I'll send that to Danny or I'll send it to Dave and say, make a horn arrangement for this. I don't read music, so I can't write out what the theme is. So if there's a melody for the horns at the beginning, well, I'm just going to say ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da, and I'll sing the horn line, and then they'll write it out, they'll harmonize it, they'll embellish it. They're borrowing from me, I'm borrowing from them, and it just brings the song somewhere that I could never bring the song on my own. That kind of collaboration is really nice, you know. And to me, that's what makes music so much fun.
30 years, you know, keeping a band going for 30 years, that's... Try to keep on going for 1 year, 2 years. It's not easy. But 30, wow.
Le respect puis l'écoute aussi. Moi, des fois, je parle à Mike, genre, puis si quelque chose ne va pas dans ma vie, je vais me confier à lui. Puis il va m'écouter, puis il va vraiment me conseiller. Il va me dire...
Et vice-versa aussi.
Oui, et vice-versa. Mais tu sais, c'est comme... On n'a comme pas de secret, on se dit les vraies choses, tu sais. Puis je pense que cette honnêteté-là, c'est payant musicalement aussi, parce que ça se reflète. Parce que quand tu es sur un stage, puis tu as confiance à ton leader qui est là, qui joue, il me semble que tu peux pas avoir plus que ça.
Ça fait de la meilleure musique, je crois. Quand on peut travailler avec des musiciens qu'on aime bien, puis on peut faire de la bonne musique ensemble. Mais quand on travaille avec des musiciens qu'on aime vraiment être avec, c'est vraiment, tu sais, même en dehors de la musique, on a toujours de quoi se parler,
Oui.
C'est toujours intéressant. Il me semble que ça fait la meilleure musique.
Oui, puis on a beaucoup de sujets aussi de conversation autres que la musique, tu sais. La cuisine. Mike, on sait que lui, c'est vraiment un chef. Puis c'est tout le temps agréable de parler de nourriture, de bouffe, puis de comment t'as fait ça. Ah oui, t'as fait ça. Comment t'as fait ta pâte, t'as fait comment, blablabla. Tu sais, il y a beaucoup d'échanges aussi à d'autres niveaux aussi que musicalement.
Well, the best thing about cooking is that it's kind of the same thing as music in a lot of ways, because when you cook for people, if you're cooking well, you're bringing people joy, and music gives people joy. So it's kind of like, it's just another way to make people happy and make people feel good. It just started as a necessity, but it really did turn into passion. Anytime that we were on the road and we had access to a kitchen, I always find that's pretty nice to get to cook for the band and stuff. And a lot of people are like, wow, don't you have enough on your plate already without having to cook for everyone? But it's just so communal, and it makes everyone feel so good to be able to share a meal together, you know, where, as they say in French, c'est rassembleurs, manger ensemble, partager un repas. C'est des plaisirs de la vie. Stuff that I really do enjoy a lot. And when you eat well, you usually play well too.
Je suis content de voir qu'il a continué toutes ces années-là, que la gang a continué avec lui. Il y a des collaborateurs avec lui, des partenaires qui sont là depuis le début, ou presque enfin, depuis que je le connais. Ça nous indique comment quelqu'un qui voulait ou qui établit des relations solides et fortes avec ses partenaires. Alors,
The fact that I've had the luck to have guys like Danny, Max, Laurie Goodman, people that were that have a really vast musical knowledge. I got to learn, and I got to become the musician I am today. And even though I don't read music and I can't write it, I understand harmony and I understand music because they taught it to me. Just by putting these songs together, it rubs off on you, and you start understanding musical stuff a lot better, you know. And it made me a better composer. Learning all the jazz standards that I've learned over when I started doing jazz, that was like the best school. And learning with guys like Danny, who really know this music inside and out, and they're able to suggest things. And when you're on the road with those guys and you spend so much time with them, you're talking about music all the time, you know, so you're always learning stuff.
la plupart des groupes ne durent pas 30 ans aussi, là. C'est rare. Il est parmi les plus vieux groupes de blues au Québec, là, c'est sûr. Là, on a quelques autres, mais qui ont gardé, qui ont continué, qui ont persévéré. Jusqu'à ce jour, il y a très peu de groupes, là. Alors, ils sont dans les seuls, là.
C'est mourir de la musique aussi, hein? Se nourrir et mourir de la musique aussi. C'est imprégné, c'est en dedans de lui. Ce qui est fascinant, c'est que son père avait des doutes, hein, sur son talent ou sa carrière musicale, puis aujourd'hui, ben, sa carrière lui donne raison.
L'influence de la musique a sa part et beaucoup par la camaraderie. C'est-à-dire, si tu as un noyau de musiciens, que c'est vraiment des bons amis, je dirais même des frères, il n'y a rien qui peut détruire ça. Ça passe au-dessus de tout, tu sais. Fait que ça se joue là. Pour moi, c'est vraiment ça, le Boppin Blues Band, parce que c'est né d'amitié et de humour.
Mais le Boppin Blues Band, il faut dire que c'est l'orchestre qui est intéressant. C'est orchestral, c'est monumental aussi. Puis c'est le plaisir que les musiciens peuvent avoir ensemble.
The band isn't all about me. It's not about me playing solos all night and singing all night, although I do take a lot of place because I am the singer, but everybody gets a chance to shine during the night, on any show. There's always a moment for each person to shine and to show what they got, you know. And I think that's probably why people like playing in this band. I think we're having more fun now in the last 5 years than we had all the other times. Maybe one, because I'm older, I'm a little bit more savvy about how to manage the band. I've learned how to be a good leader. I wasn't always a good leader. I'm better at relationships with the musicians and being careful to be respectful of them. That's a really important thing. And when you're able to respect your bandmates and you know, and also give them their moments to shine.
Moi, je pense que le secret dans la chose, c'est le respect, puis surtout la joie, le respect mutuel. S'ils ont du fun ensemble, c'est la flamme qui va faire perdurer ça. Mike Goudreau, on le voit, quand on le voit sur scène, on le sait qu'il aime ça, on sait qu'il en mange, il transmet bien au public. Puis moi, je pense que c'est la joie, la flamme, puis le bonheur de jouer ensemble, puis ça se transpose sur scène.
The reason why we have a sound and why we have a following is because we're presenting the music at a certain level all the time. And it's really important. And when it comes to the day where I can't present the music at that level, that's when I'm going to fold. So, yeah, but it hasn't happened yet. That's why the band is still going.
J'espère qu'il va y avoir un autre 30 ans. On fera une autre entrevue pour le 60e du Boppin.
Oui, ça serait cool, hein? Imagine.
Ouais.
Imagine.
Oh, when we converse, I'd like to answer back. Her words all jumble like a train off the tracks. Makes me so dizzy, I wonder how does she breathe? 'Cause when her lips meet mine, that's why I'll never leave. All the way she smiles with those big old blues. Be quiet, woman, I'm in love with you. But she talks too much, I love her so, but my baby talks too much.